Hola amigos, welcome to Life for Living Well channel. Please subscribe to keep the channel going. You can also check us out by visiting our website on www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Sit down and enjoy the helpful topic for this week. Hey, welcome back to another episode for Life for Living Well. Once again, my name is Richard and I hope you're well. Before I dive into the podcast this week, I do like to say big thank you for the amount of love and support you show to the community. Judging by the website, the response for this month is super cool. Thank you. And before we dive into the podcast for this week, I do say if you do like to see the full extent or depth about this podcast weekly, there's also an article that attach or come with the podcast, so you can read it up on our website. And I hope you're well. So let's get started. From the continuation of the topic we've been looking into for the last 4 weeks, and this week we also look into different resourceful skills that we can develop in ourselves or work on and can bring amazing results into our immediate life and can also show itself how we deal with others. So let's get started. Okay, the topic is 10 practical resourceful skills, interdependence. So we're looking into interdependence and how do we grow and develop this level of confidence in us, and how did it come across us supporting our life. So but before we go too fully, I quickly want to say quoted member Patillo about his view of interdependence. He said, "The task that remains is to cope with our interdependence, to see ourselves reflected in every other human being, and to respect and honor our differences." And we live in a world that two types of confidence are dominating it. You have a world where some people are dependent, and you have a world where some people are confident. So in my world, these are two opposite energy. So you have someone that move far away from dependent into super confident, and they also move to another extreme, one side. Why confidence could help us a lot to get a lot of things done is also very limited in long time for exclusive growth in our own life. But this particular topic will take us through the level of confidence that we might go through or we already are in our life. And the good news is that we can work on it and also push it to level that it can bring more fruitful to our life. For the last quotation before I dive into it is from Henrik H. Erickson. So what does this say about interdependence? All life doesn't make any sense without interdependence. We need each other, and the sooner we learn that, the better for all of us. It's right. And if you want to know that it's right, just spend a few minutes, a few hours in the nature and see how everything is interdependent. There's no dependence in nature, neither there is confidence in nature. But the way the nature show is interdependence is through calmness. You can only calm when you have a confidence that whatever happens, you're going to be okay. It takes confidence. If you worry about the future and you are anxious about the future, but you worry about the past, there's no way you will be a calm person or even peaceful in your mind, because you constantly worry about things that haven't happened. So you're mixing the point of living right now. So you are not actually living, you are living ahead of time. So in the 3D world or 2D world, they call it time travel. So you don't have to worry about or do the time travel. Once you develop yourself to interdependence level, these kind of worries disappear in your life completely. Your view is like you have a different glasses. You see things you have a clarity of view of things. You have a definite of purpose, and that gives you a lot of peace in your mind. And when your mind is peaceful, when your life is calm, you're bound to create amazing things out of it. Your creativity level reach to another level. But dependency and fear and confidence is driven by within that. What is driven that is what I call fear. It takes a lot of someone that feel and think that they have enough to give. Most when you're confident, you automatically assuming that when you give, you will not have enough. And if you allow people close to you, they will take advantage of you. So you create a lot of walls. Yes, people will do. But when you become interdependent individual, you will also develop necessary attributes that are attached to it. One of them is wisdom. You will see it throughout by the time we get to it through this podcast. We try not to spend too much time, but stick to the time that are available for this podcast. Okay. The importance of interdependent skill cannot be overestimated in this podcast. But the key question is, how do we develop it? One thing that will be so obvious to you when you meet anybody and when you spend enough time with them, when you really know them, you could easily put them into one group or the other. You could say they are dependent or they are confident. But the catch is, you are not actually that one thing. You could be dependent in the area of your interpersonal relationship. You could be very, very independent in the area of decision making based on your responsibility and role in your current job. If you are a driver of a bus, you don't constantly ask your passenger, how do you drive? That's going to knock off your confidence, and because each one of them might have a different view. If you are a doctor, you don't constantly ask your patient, how should I operate you if you're a surgeon? They come to you thinking like, knowing that you have ability to do it. If you're a teacher, you don't constantly ask your student to tell you the book, the topic you should teach them. You show leadership in that role. But that doesn't translate to every other area of your life. And the same thing with confidence. You can be confident in one area, you can be solely dependent in another area, and that is what we are as a person. You don't have to be fret about it. But area where you're dependent on others as an adult, if it's not because of disability or something beyond your control, it's something that you can work on. If it's something that affecting you mentally, psychologically, and draining your energy, because when you depend on something, you're bound to be triggered by anxiety of losing that thing that you depend on. So if that thing is not in your life, will you still be happy? Will you still be going and do things that you want to do? So why do people not talk or value it more? So this week, we will cover, number one, what is the importance of interdependence? Number two, what needs to change before it happens? And then lastly, what are the few benefits to it or derived from it? First, let me say, let's consider individual that is perpetually developing self in the area of self-correction, self-growth, mentally, emotionally, and physically. When people do all these things that I just mentioned, one thing that automatically happens as a result of the effort they put into all those things that I mentioned is self-actualization. Lead them to the highest being that they are capable of. It involves two stages, but before they get to the self-actualization, they need to pass through two stages of energy. Number one, dependence and interdependence. How you balance these two opposite energy is how you arrive to interdependence. But the closer stage that you need to be before you even get to interdependent is independent stage. But there's still a load of people in dependence stage, and how do you take them out of that stage? When we are fully developed into wholeness, then the independent part of us shows up. So something happens. We get to a stage that we now realize we could actually predict the future for ourselves. We could actually realize that we can make our dream come to fruition. We come to a stage and realize that we are responsible for choices and things that happen to us. That's a confidence stage. Most people still blame other people for where they are in their life right now. They blame others for their patterns of behavior, habits, because it's not giving them the fruit that they expected from it. So first, let's look at the dependence first. So what is wrong with this way of relating and living? So what are the problems that comes when we are dependent? We are all dependent when we are children. We depend on adults in our life to feed us, protect us, and even clothe us and look after us. So what is the problem with that? Being an adult. So you can see how this could become problematic when a healthy and fully functioning adult expect another person making choices for them. It is far more common in our relationship than you will admit. Some culture actually promote dependency. Automatically, adult children still look up to their parents to verify, validating their choices, their decisions. So when this individual now be in another relationship with another adult, they tend to bring this kind of energy into their relationship. And if we don't really question this and don't know more, we can stuck in this role for a long time. So they now come across like someone that lack confidence in themselves, because it's not the lack of the confidence, it's the way the culture have influenced them and focused them to be always look up to anyone other than them. Some culture promotes independence. That creates a lot of individualistic people that they only think concerned about their self-interest first. They full of calculation and self-benefit all the time. The trade-off relationship is, what is in it for me? Okay, so let's say more. It is far more common in our relationship than you will admit. When one adult has to manage and control how you feel, what do you want? It is tiring and create many conflicts. Conflicts like push and pull. So you see people that have different relationship types. They are anxious because they are dependent with somebody that is avoidant, and every time that person feel claustrophobia, they want to run away or create some kind of drama or use their independence to escape. And the one that's dependent becoming even more anxious and continue to chase them, working so hard, giving so much more to the relationship than they get back from it. And create many conflicts. So as a result, it depleted them from their fertile resources. So the next level, before we reach the stage of interdependency, is the independence level, which is far much healthier than dependency. This stage is what our world emphasizes mostly, especially in the West. It is very individual in nature. At the end, it creates so many individualistic people. This is very acceptable in the Western society. So, individualistic in approach. Truly, you do not progress into the interdependent stage without first becoming independent. So, if you're already in the level of independent, congratulations, you've done great jobs. But don't stay there alone. Both independence and dependence stages are limited. But if you have to be in any stage, becoming independent is much helpful to individuals. So we have few more minutes to bring the podcast to the end. Often, the independent stage confirms you are branching out to figure out your what, individualistic strengths and weaknesses. After successfully completing this stage, you can then embrace interdependence, which is higher and come with a lot of unique benefits. I will get into that benefit shortly. But when people are trapped in the dependence and independent stages, it is very self-destructive and damaging for everyone. People use independence often as an escape from their marriage, relationship with their children, parents. The common word and action is, I do not need anybody. The reality is that an independent world will take you fast, but it won't take you far. You will need an interdependent world to take you far, even if it seems too slow to you. from interdependent wisdom discovered that everyone is different and has challenges. So let's quickly see the few qualities you may get from interdependence. Number one, wisdom. Quality of deep understanding of relating with others, observing, reflecting, and thinking separate individual from those who are isolated themselves from the source. Another thing that would come from interdependence is resilience. And this will happen as a result of connecting through several and diverse personalities. And this benefit also self-evidence in individual other areas of life. It will not just stay there, it will transcend into other parts of your life, whether into your business, whether into your work, whether into your goals, whether into your hobbies, even whether into your friends. Some people are easy and ready to throw their friends away. Some people are able to stick to it longer. So, similar to resilient, tolerant. People that also reach interdependence stage, they also have a growth mindset. They continue to develop themselves. You can tell a lot about person. Normally, when I meet somebody and I have the opportunity to go to their house, the first thing I look is their bookshelf. If they don't have a bookshelf, the first thing I want to know, what are they reading? Because if you don't read anything, that is even more surreal. But it's okay. It just shows how limited their individual is. And if they read things that doesn't really uplift them, that's also show them how limited they are. So growth mindset. How do you handle setback? How do you handle changes? The growth mindset to turn all those things to a amicable and divine lesson that grow them. Also brave. Oh my God, they were very brave individuals. Friendship, this naturally happened to them because they no longer having hidden agenda. They no longer walking the wall. Don't let me close. It's going to leave me anyway. So let me protect myself. Dependency. Confidence, I don't need anyone. Let him call me first. Pride is not here. If you are their friend and you are still in good time, they will create time for you. Oh yes, they are positive people. They know that they don't know enough to be pessimists. And no one can know everything. No one can know enough to become pessimist. But we have that. Is that you give up completely and you think nothing can work. So, what stage are you right now? This question I'm throwing to you. Ask yourself. See how you currently live your life. It will tell you more what stage you are. Would you say you are dependent or independent? Even better, interdependency. So what stage are you? If you are not in the interdependent stage, don't be discouraged. Begin to work toward independence if you are still in dependent stage. There's no timeline here. Do not create an unrealistic timeline, but begin to work on yourself today, and your future self will thank you for it. I usually say this is lifetime work, and we should say it this way. It's not something you say, I do it for 3 months, and then if I don't get the result, I give up. No, that is wrong, because the result is often evidence soon to yourself and people that used to know you. So we're bringing it to the end now. If you're already in the independent stage, congratulations. You have worked hard to reach this stage. Do not rest your laurel. This level is very limited to exploit your woman dimension and potential. So work toward interdependence through your intentional actions with others instead of detachment and isolation, competition and ego. Interdependent stage is a stage of actualizing an individual where you can stand alone and stand with others without fear. May you have courage to embrace interdependence. And thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me this week. I hope you enjoy the topic, and I hope you get one or two things from it, because that is the purpose of doing it, to help each other. Iron sharp iron. So if you'd like to read more about this podcast, you can check the article regarding it out on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. And the resources that I used to support this article this week, I find it in a website called https://sackfixcentral.com. So they have a very interesting and great article as well, if you like to read more relating to this particular topic. And thank you for your time, and have an amazing week. Until we meet again next week, stay safe and enjoy the rest. Ciao. From everyone here, from Life for Living Well, we say hasta luego, amigos. Thank you for your time this week. May your rest of the week be safe and loving. Please subscribe to our channel to keep it going. And you can find more information on our website by visiting www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Goodbye.